Breaking news, champs. Canelo Alvarez states that he has an announcement, and he will be saying it after the fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend against Jaime Munguia. And I have an announcement as well, as I just got a co-host to help me with the show, and he will be coming in every time I need some help. He will be giving his thoughts about all of this a little bit later on in the video. And he does not want to do a faceless video. He wants to show himself, and he will be coming up in a little bit. And his name is Mr. Northpaw 377. And also, David Benavidez has a few announcements himself. And these are the topics that we will be talking about today. But before we get into that, if you guys are not subscribed, please punch and knock out that subscription button. That way you won't see it again. And ding that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my new boxing videos. Alright guys, let's get to the round. Ding, ding. Okay champs, let's get started. As we all know, David Benavidez has been Canelo Alvarez mandatory for almost 3 years. And it seems that Canelo has not been able to give him a shot. But I don't believe it was all Canelo's fault. It was also David Benavidez's fault. So David is undefeated, but he is a 3-time 168-pound champion. Now, how can he be a 3-time WBC world champion and be undefeated? That means he would have to lose the same belt twice, therefore having 2 losses. But he got stripped of the belt one time for doing straw bucks. You know, the drug that you use bucks to make a straw out of. And many people use it that way, or they also use their car keys. So he tested positive for that and he got stripped. And the other time he got stripped when the pandemic hit and he could not make weight. So Benavidez was already the champion and he probably could have fought Canelo if he did not get stripped. Now to me, he does get a pass for the pandemic because people did not even know if they could box. So what's the point on staying on a diet if you can't really fight? But not the incident when he got stripped for the straw bucks, because he is an athlete and he should be more professional. And this is not Canelo's fault. But if Benavidez was still the champion, that means Canelo would only had 3 belts and they could have fought for unification. But it's just sad that everything played out like this. But I am not sure if this fight is even going to happen, as people are giving mixed signals. Canelo in an interview stated that the only way he will fight David Benavidez is if there is a promoter out there that is willing to pay for the fight. And he is asking $150 to $200 million. Now, I do understand that is a bit much knowing how many people actually steal pay-per-views, because I doubt most of that money will come from the gate venue. And if a promoter does give that kind of money, they will have to recuperate it back. And the only way they'll get their money back is if they sell 2 million pay-per-views at $84.99 a pop, and that's only to pay him $150 million. Now say they raise the money to 150 and Canelo does not accept it and he wants 200, they will have to sell 3 million pay-per-views. And there is no promoter in the States that can afford that. I do know the fight will sell well, but I don't think it will do over 2 million pay-per-views. I do think it will beat Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis pay-per-view numbers though, probably hitting around 1.5 or 1.6. And that is stretching it. It might not even do that. It might just do 1.1 or 1.2. And the only person who could afford that is Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia. As we all know, when Canelo said that if there is a promoter out there that will pay him that amount of money, he was subliminally messaging Turki Al-Sheikh. But we know that Turki stated that he is not interested in making that fight at the moment. But he never said that he is not willing to make the fight happen. But I hope he does, because I really want to see this fight, and I actually have Canelo beating David Benavidez. But the longer Canelo waits, the more dangerous David Benavidez is going to get. And Canelo is not going to get any younger or get any better. But Canelo recently stated that he had a huge announcement for Cinco de Mayo weekend on the Jaime Munguia fight. And there is no bigger announcement than him saying that he's gonna fight the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. So I am hoping and praying that Turkey finally decided to make this fight happen, as I know that is the only way this fight will take place in such a short notice. But David did move up to 175 to fight Bostic. He still has to get through that opponent, and it is stated that David is gonna fight the winner of Better Beef and Bebo, and that fight is supposed to happen in between the rematch clause between Better Beef and Bebo. I just don't see how Canelo is going to be able to fit in this year against Benavidez. And Canelo also stated that he wants the rematch against Bebo. But what don't make sense is that Canelo stated that he will only fight Bebo at 175 and not at 168. I believe because he does not want to put the titles on the line. But I believe the only way Canelo Alvarez beats David Benavidez if they fight at 168. If Canelo fights David Benavidez at 175, I believe David Benavidez stops Canelo. So I'm sure the Mexican monster will state if he fights Bebo at 175, he could fight him at 175. So I don't know if that will be such a smart move for Canelo, as he's already complaining about David Benavidez's weight and stated the only thing David Benavidez brings to the table is an extra 25 pounds on fight night. So Canelo is worried about Benavidez's weight, but not Bebo's, right? But David is a pretty big guy. I believe he ballooned up to 195 or something like that. That's almost a heavyweight. And he is a lot bigger than Bebo and Better Beef, and he's the one moving up from 168. But right now, my co-host Northpaw 377 is gonna take over. He is going to introduce himself at first.
I am the new addition and co-host to Mannys Boxing World. Let me introduce myself and tell you a little about me. I am Northpaw 377 from California. I love boxing and my favorite fighter is Rolly Romero and Coach Bullet. I also said if Rolly beats Pitbull Cruz in their last fight, I would get a picture of Rolly's face tatted on me on my backside right next to my Goofy and P. Diddy tattoos, but Rolly lost, so I won't get it yet. But I digress. Let's get back to business and the boxing topic. I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you how I roll. I believe that Canelo Alvarez is ducking David Benavidez. If he was not, he would not have asked for such a high guarantee. I have never heard of such a person. Could be because he is either scared of the Mexican monster or he is just trying to cash out and take advantage of Saudi Arabia and how they are throwing money away. But I could be wrong. I've been thinking about this long and hard. Yesterday I still have Canelo beating Benavidez. Now back to Manny.
Okay guys, you guys heard it from Northpaw himself. If you guys like the show, like the video, share the video, subscribe, and that's it for me, champs. I gotta roll.